Hi everybody, I'm Craig Hicks. Thanks for tuning in to the Denison Sports Network. Today I am joined by Denison's head men's lacrosse coach, Mike Caravana, in his 21st year. Coach, we're just about 1 week away from our home opener against Mount St. Joe. Tell me a little bit about the preseason. I know last week you went up to University of Michigan, took on the Wolverines, came home with a win. How's the team looking this year?
Well, so far we're off to a good start. It's been a challenging preseason given the weather, certainly with the snow and the cold and such. But we basically have a pretty experienced team back. We only graduated 4 seniors last year, and 2 played more of a prominent role. And so with that being said, it's kind of one of those good seasons for us to kind of get to a little slower start with not being able to access the field as much. But again, we were happy with our performance, our hustle, our determination, our speed and athleticism was kind of evident and up there. And we played a good couple of Division I scrimmages, which gives us a chance to really do some self-assessment, and we felt like the time was well spent and fortunate enough to have that opportunity to play inside in their indoor facility at the University of Michigan.
Coach, you're coming off a season last year. Let me take you back a little bit to last year. 13-3. We had a great year, but it was the first year of the NCAC tournament. We suffered a 1-goal loss to Ohio Wesleyan. That kept us out of the NCAA tournament for the first time in a very long time, I believe 8 years. Does that sting kind of carry over a little bit into this year?
I mean, it does certainly. It's in 2 ways, obviously. Our goal was always to be our conference champion first and then play for an NCAA championship. We kind of expect those things to happen, so when they don't, it's a double whammy. It's also challenging for us always to lose to Ohio Wesleyan. They're such a big rival, and we have such great respect for their team and their program through the years. So, losing to them by a goal is a tough one. But we've been fortunate. I think we've won 8 straight before that. So, having been in this profession a while, you knew that the tide was going to turn here once in a while. But I definitely think it's been a little bit of a reflection piece for us, often starting right after that game a little bit for both the players and the staff, for us to look at what we've been doing and try to make sure that we're on the right track and continue to find that success. But given the challenges that we face, the better teams that we play, understanding that we're arguably the top team on everyone's schedule, getting their best game, we really had some successful seasons in a row. We don't want to look at last year's season as not being successful by any means. So, but we're looking forward to this season. I think we have a good team, and we feel like we've got some good pieces for us to move forward, and we'll be tested, as we know, by playing some top teams this year.
Now, last year, your defense led the nation, only allowing about 5 goals a game. That defense pretty much returns intact, aside from Spencer Reel's graduation. Can you talk about that unit a little bit?
Well, we did, but also we had Bart Farrenholt, who was a 4-year starter as well as a defensive midfielder. That's really the most important position on the defense these days, is your short stick defensive midfielders. Most teams attack that first. So we're going to have to replace Bart, who is, again, a 4-year starter for us, a fine athlete and a good leader. So we have some pieces missing, really, 2 of our top 6 players. But we need to be strong on defense again, certainly. I think it's been a little bit of a stalwart for us, the last couple of years. We're expecting some improved goal play, but by Chris Thomas, who had to start for us last year as a freshman. So we anticipate his experience and time in the goal last year to help him a little bit, to improve his save percentage a little bit, to help us as we transition a little bit to that expectation of good defense, for our goal play to increase, to give us a little time as we move forward with replacing Spencer and Bart.
Okay, one guy I would like to focus on was the NCAC Defensive Player of the Year last year, and that was Austin Campbell in the long stick midfield. Do you believe, he seems to me to be the top long pole in the country in Division III.
He's one of the better ones, yeah. Certainly. Unfortunately, with over 230 teams playing now, it's hard to see everybody play. But he's certainly in the discussion to be among one of the better ones. Austin has gotten better and better each year. He's gotten bigger, stronger, faster each year. Not the biggest kid out there by any means. You watch him walk around, he doesn't look like a superior athlete, but he's a very good athlete. Has great intuition, great off the ground, picks up everything he can. Fine one-on-one player. So he's going to be a leader for us, certainly, and one of the better players in the country. We need him again, to have his best season, as to be expected for us to have, keep our national ranking and move up in that, and as well be as fortunate enough to play for the championship in our conference.
Now, turning over to offense, I think when you look at our offense, it seems to be a very versatile one. And then you can score from many places. Tell me about your middies and their ability to score from outside.
Sure. Well, like I said, we have three of our top, four midfielders coming back, and Chapin Spidell and Blair Farrenholt and Justin DeMarkey. So we have a senior in Chapin who's a 4-year starter for us, who should lead the way. Big, strong, athletic kid who's got a lot of experience. Blair is an exceptional athlete, really good player for us, had a wonderful freshman year. Justin is a Canadian kid, first one that we've had in a while, who ended up having a fair number of points last year and really kind of grew that way. And we've added a transfer student named James Mager, who's a local product from Worthington Kilbourne, who was at Ohio State last year, who's really going to add to the mix. Those 4 guys are really kind of the key, and we like them. We like the group. We like the way that they play together. They're unselfish, so we should be pretty strong there. As we transition over to our attack unit a little bit, everything starts with Eddie Vita. Again, Eddie's a 3-year starter for us, and certainly a strong All-American candidate. Myself thought he should have made it last year, given his success. He's a good leader on the field, plays with a lot of heart, really good athlete, and we need Eddie to have a good season for us again. And then we've got a couple. Teddy Powell might be, I think, our leading returning scorer, who started for us his first year last year as a sophomore from Jacksonville, Florida. We need him certainly to continue his fine play, and then see how Nick Caravana transitions back from being injured the last couple of years. He's been pretty good when he's been in the games, but so far he hasn't been able to stay healthy with various injuries. But it seems to be off to a good start in preseason. And we've got 2 freshmen that we knew that would come in and challenge for playing time, and Alex Paulus, who's from Maine, who's an outstanding, big, strong, athletic kid that we might also see in the midfield some, as well as Lucas Walsh, who's a kid from Buffalo, New York, who PG'd at Deerfield, he's a little bit older, a little more experienced. Both those guys are kind of big, strong, athletic kids that are going to come in and push some time. And if they don't play some on attack, we might see them some also in the second midfield.
Okay. Now, to score the ball, you got to get the ball. Chip Phillips, got one of the best in the country at the face-off. How about him coming into his senior year? He's had a lot of experience.
He has, and he's done well. He's done well in some big games and things like that. So we're very encouraged by Chip, and who he is, the experience he brings to the table. I don't think he's fazed by any situation that we're in. He was really dominant last year at times, but also, we have another young man that started that really helped us last year as well, Eric Baumgartner, who's a sophomore from D.C. He went to Gonzaga High School, is another big, strong, athletic guy. So we really feel like face-offs itself collectively, we should be strong at. Face-offs lots of times are matchups. Sometimes Chip can be really good and have 3 really good games and run into one guy who might be the 3rd guy on another team, and kind of just he might have a move that becomes more problematic for Chip. Having Eric there as well, is really gives us the depth that we need there to give us those more options as we enter into our schedule.
I heard you talk about Chris Thomas in goal. He got thrown into the fire starting in goal as a freshman. He played a lot of big games. Talk about how maybe that experience has helped him, and does he look like a little bit of a different player this year?
He does look like a little bit of a different player, certainly. I think last year, coming from a really powerhouse high school program that he played at Loyola Blakefield in Maryland, helped him. I think help him manage the situation. But yet, certainly, when you play here, we expect you to be a better player each and every year. I think Chris, again, was able to be very reflective over the summer and over the fall about what he needed to do to be better, and I think he's taken steps to do that. We've also gotten a good charge from a fellow sophomore in Clark Bullington. Clark was one of the better goalies in Texas a couple years ago, got on the team late last year, had some knee injuries his senior year, so he really now fully recovered, and he's been playing pretty well. In addition to Chris. So I think that competition to help both of them. They're both good friends. They get along real well. I think us as a staff and the team have confidence in both guys. But we're really expecting Chris to have a good season and hopeful that he will.
Okay. Coach, I got my copy of Lacrosse magazine in the mail yesterday. Had Big Red ranked 15th, which is great, out of their top 20. But I noticed right away that we have 5 of the nation's top 16 teams scheduled for us this year. All of them on the road, by the way. Do you think this is probably the toughest schedule that you've had here in 21 years?
It's certainly one of them, without any question. And if you had Ohio Wesleyan, which we all know is certainly going to be a top 25 caliber team, without any question. So we've got our hands full. The league has gotten better itself. Worcester, Kenyon, Wittenberg have all invested a lot, as well as Oberlin and new coaching. Additional members of the coaching staff. Recruiting has increased. So really, it's been a big evolution for me. Certainly, when I got here, we would play 3 or 4 tough games, and that would be a total. Now, every game, if we don't play well, we're going to be in trouble. So I think our plan was to give ourselves the opportunity to really play some teams nationally that are good. And we really have kind of put it in 2 different segments. We played Washington and Lee and Roanoke kind of back-to-back on road trips early in the season in February. Then we come back and then have 3 tough games in spring break about 2.5 weeks later. So it's kind of play, assess, move forward, have another chance to play some good teams, come back after spring break, and then kind of assess and get ready for more of the local schedule as well. And when you add in Adrian, which is certainly a powerhouse team now with a lot of Division I transfers, some kids from Canada and stuff like that, we have a very formidable schedule, and we'll have a better idea of who we are and if we'll be able to really earn our spot into the NCAA tournament and kind of see what kind of season we have. But we feel like we have a team that's up to the challenge. They want to play those kind of games, and now we're just going to have to go out there and perform in those opportunities as well as we can.
Okay. Well, Coach, I really appreciate you joining me today. I'd like to remind everybody that the Big Red will take on Mount St. Joseph on February 15th, right up there at Deeds Field Piper Stadium. If you can't make it to the game, just know that the Denison Sports Network has you covered. We'll have high-definition broadcasts of all of our home games this season. You can check us out at DenisonBigRed.com. So for Mike Caravana, I'm Craig Hicks. Thanks for tuning in.